Alright, everyone, welcome back to the Player Zone YouTube channel. Welcome back to another NBA review, reviewing Game 2 from the Eastern Conference first round playoff fixture between the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. And after a great Game 1 and me previewing one of the better Eastern Conference series, it lived up to it with a great Game 2 to watch. And I guess after Game 1, losing Game 1 and losing home court, you really assumed that Cleveland would come back big and wanted to pull the game back and make a statement, and they did in this game. The first quarter was sort of a continuation of what we saw in that first game, a sort of back and forth affair. Great defense being played on both ends, especially from Cleveland, who really picked up that physical, sort of aggressive type of defense, getting over screens, switching plays, not making it easy for Jalen Brunson. And we saw the impact of that because it was quite a low-scoring, ineffective sort of first quarter. Both teams sort of went at 38% from the field, so quite low, a true sort of playoff type game. And it remained tight throughout. Darius Garland, though, he was the biggest star in that first quarter there with 11 points of his own. And after a very quiet first game and sort of passive first game, many people were calling for him to stand up and step up to help Mitchell out and help hopefully the Cavs to get back. And he took that very literally because he went in there and he was aggressive. He took the ball to the rack, shot the ball, and didn't just defer to Mitchell. He took it on himself to put the ball in the basket, and he did that very, very well in the first quarter. As I said, 11 points, 2 threes, and 5 of those points come from the free throw line as well. So he was aggressive and got fouled and got to the free throw line. It sort of looked like more of his sort of regular season form where he was a part of a 1-2 punch rather than Mitchell doing all the hard work as it seemed in that first game there. On the Knicks side of things, Jalen Brunson continued where he was at with 8 points of his own. But I guess importantly, wasn't really efficient from the field, and the Cavs defense really did get on top there early. It was Robinson and Hartenstein who were big for the Knicks in the first game, and they were very ineffective early with 2 turnovers each in the first quarter there. And it was the theme of the game that as Allen and Mobley sort of asserted themselves a bit more, it almost seemed like they were nervous in the first game and didn't play as we expected them. And we saw that as those two would be big impacts on this series as the 2 big men, they would go up against the New York Knicks 2 big men. And it was this game that they sort of showed they can fight and can level out the playing field out there with the 2 bigs from the New York Knicks. And it was the Knicks, I guess, who got on top a little bit early with the 8-point lead, but following this, it was sort of one-way traffic, and the Cavs' defense prevailed and it made a more physical game that the Knicks couldn't match. And in the end, the Cavs went on a strong run to end the first 25-22 up in a very tight, congested type of first quarter. I guess looking forward to the second, the game completely changed, and I guess this is where the game was won for Cleveland. They continued to play some very physical defense, getting up over screens, as I said, and making it hard for the likes of Josh Hart, who had a big game in Game 1. The bigs like Hartenstein and Robertson didn't have it easy in there. Julius Randle had a quiet sort of first half, and it was all because of the defense. It can be seen, I guess, with Cleveland attempting 24 field goals and the New York Knicks only 17. And that was because of the 9 turnovers that the Knicks had there, just being forced, I guess, by the Cavs defense, which was highlighted by JB Bickerstaff, the coach, post the game, just how much they lifted, how much like the Cleveland of the regular season and the Cleveland we expected in this series. So that was very important to see. I guess the struggles of the Knicks was emphasised by Julius Randle, a key scorer for them, someone who puts the ball in the bucket, only going 3 for 8 in the quarter. As the Knicks sort of lost the stranglehold of the game and the Cavs took over, really. As I mentioned earlier, Josh Hart, who was a massive hero in the first game, not only defensively but offensively, only made 2 points after 18 minutes, which included playing the full second quarter there. I guess it can be noted he did his job, though. He defended really well on Donovan Mitchell, who wasn't as aggressive. He deferred, as I said, to Darius Garland this game because he had a great first half and particularly a great second quarter there. It was Darius Garland who was just ultimately the game changer. He had a really, really strong quarter, putting the ball in the basket with his 15 points there in the second and combining for his career-high 26-point first half, which is what we expected from Darius Garland, is what we saw in the regular season there, where he was taking control of the game. It was a true 1-2 punch where some guys would be Mitchell, some guys would be Garland, and it was exciting to see him sort of come out of his shell a bit in a playoff game and show what he's got. it was the facilitator Mitchell ended up with 8 assists going to half with his 6 points and also importantly 2 steals, which is big for Mitchell. He wasn't putting the ball in the basket this game. He was being the facilitator and someone who could build the offense as far as Cleveland's concerned. I think that's good going forward because it's not going to be just a one-dimensional attack. It's going to be both. And the 1-2 punch truly came out to play here in the second game. And it was this big quarter with the Cavs doubling up the Knicks 34-17 that saw them take a massive 20-point lead going into the second half and almost killing the game off quite early on. Looking into the third, it was a similar story with shot making being a real problem for the Knicks. Defenses in both teams at a high level, and I guess that was shown, and I guess it was emphasised, importantly by the Cavs who were really lacklustre in their effort in the first game and were showing up physically and aggression-wise by the Knicks, who got up and at it, got the offensive boards and fought over screens and the like. But it was the Cavs in this game that got back to what they're used to, what they're known for the regular season, to be a really, really strong defense. And we saw that a large period of time, especially in the second quarter, and in the third quarter continuing on. The Knicks shot a woeful 26% in this third quarter, and it was tough to watch at times. They got some good opportunities to put the ball in the bucket, but just the defense and I guess the pressure, some of that time just to hit a shot, just wasn't. They weren't able to make the shots. You see Brunson struggling. RJ Barrett was awfully inefficient, and that sort of summed up the day for the Knicks. They just couldn't get the game close after that early 8-point lead. RJ Barrett led the team with 6 points, 4 of which were on the free throw line. So it just showed how inefficient the Knicks were in that third quarter there. Totally opposite, the Cavs were going at a really, really good clip. They were at 50% from the field in the third, with Darius Garland, managing 6 more points to add to his incredible first half. And it was Donovan Mitchell becoming more aggressive. He had 9 points in the third there, and sort of stamped his authority and sort of stamped out the Knicks' chance of a comeback, with the Cavs just asserting themselves in the third quarter there. I guess the surprise package looking at it was Caris LeVert, who continued to put up really, really valuable points. His length was a real benefit. I know you could see that despite RJ Barrett being out there, he had his way at times there, and he was really aggressive. And I guess that's the summary of the game for the Cavs, just being more aggressive, because Caris LeVert, who was a pedestrian in that first game, was really, really big for them. He added to his 11 first half points with 6 more in the third there, and was quite impressive to watch in that third quarter. The Knicks were kept, I guess, in the quarter by the 8 for 9 from the line, and I guess keeping it respectable with a 21-23 point quarter going towards the Cavs there. And they were just rampant, and they were continuing to the fourth. It was basically a dead rubber, but early on the big stars were in it, and after a while they sat down. But I guess important signs, I guess, for the Knicks. Emmanuel Quickley, someone off the bench there, adding 10 points. His impact maybe later on in the run could be really important, so it's good to get him minutes in the court. And it was LeVert for the Cavs in the fourth, adding 7 more points to round out a really, really impressive 24-point game for him. The Knicks won the quarter. As I said, it was basically a dead rubber, 30-25, and managed to cut the final margin to only 17 points, with the Cavs running out 107-90 winners in this one. Looking at sort of key performance for both sides, the Knicks, Julius Randle, after struggling for most of the game, he still managed with 22 points, 8 rebounds, but I guess importantly, 6 turnovers sort of killed the offense at times, and they came in important periods in the second and third there, where the Knicks probably had an opportunity to cut it back, but I guess his turnovers and inability to be efficient for the Knicks there really killed the game, sort of summed up their game. We expected the Cavs to come out strong, but it was quite disappointing to see the lack of ball protection for the Knicks and inefficiency from the field. And Jalen Brunson, also another decent game for him, 20 points, but again, with those two, you just see the effect. He only went 29% from the field, so 40% from Randle and 29% from Brunson. Just sums up how the Knicks went in that game. They started it right early. They were fighting early, but they just couldn't keep up with the rampant defense of the Cavs, and it was just seen by the 2 big stars struggling from the field and struggling the game in general, to be honest. Looking to the Cavs, as obviously everyone played a really, really important role, but as the Darius Garland show, he's 32 points, including 7 assists, and importantly 6 3-pointers. He shot the ball very, very well in this game. Was massive for them. Partnered by the 1-2 punch, Donovan Mitchell, 17 points, most of which came in the second half there. But I guess importantly and exciting to see his 13 assists, his career high. The ability, as I said earlier, to become the facilitator, run the offense for the Cavs. And I guess for the Cavs standpoint, it didn't have to just be him scoring the ball. It was good to see others getting the board and support him, and that's become big later in games, and so he can save himself a clutch moments, because I feel like in game one he always sort of exhausted all his energy in the first half, just keeping the Cavs in the game. So it's good to see others getting the score sheet, and I guess Mitchell benefited from that with the 13 assists for himself, and then adding to that's Karis LeVert. He could be a game changer looking at this series. His 24 points in this game was massive. He shot a really efficient 56% with 4 rebounds and 3 assists, but his length's going to be really important. RJ Barrett's based on the floor just because of Karis LeVert at the moment, because he's been awfully inefficient this game, both games, saying that, and had no real impact. And Karis LeVert here, he's stamped his foot down and showed his importance to this team, and if he can have a few more big games like this, I feel like I can swing the series towards the Cavs. His length, his size, his ability to put the ball in the basket, he's a scorer of the ball. Is going to be really, really important going forward for the Cavs, and might swing a few games and might lead them winning a game at Madison Square Garden, which will be big games coming up in the future there. Just looking at our takeaways from the game, Donovan Mitchell's big 13 assist game. I've said it now twice, but it's really, really important to say that he doesn't have to be the only one putting the ball in the basket. Good to see that people finish off his hard work, and if the Cavs are going to be successful in this series and going forward, it can't just be Mitchell putting the ball in the basket. And the assists show that other guys are getting aggressive, other guys are attacking the paint, shooting the ball well, and that's going to come as a result. Those 13 assists will come as a result of other people putting the ball in the basket, attempting shots, because in the first game it seemed like it was a one-man show for the Cavs. It's really good for them going forward. The second one is the big men get it done for Cleveland in this game. We talked about in the preview, and we talked about after game one that the big men were very passive in Cleveland. They struggled to get in the game. They struggled to really assert any sort of dominance, and you can see, I guess, in Cleveland winning the rebound count versus the Knicks, 43-36. The first time they've actually beaten the Knicks in the rebound count this year, so they got the call out, and they answered the call in this game. Both Mobley and Jared Allen getting more aggressive, getting those boards, and they only held, it's still a big number, the 13 offensive boards for the Knicks compared to their 18 in game one. Just shows, I guess, they're a bit more protective of those boards because they got those boards. And when you hold the two big men, Robinson and Hartenstein, only 6 points combined, it shows that those big men won that battle, and they won that battle and ended up winning the game. So I said it was a theme early on, and I hope it continues. It's going to be a battle of the big men, because you've got the storyline of Brunson and Mitchell. There's also the storyline between RJ Barrett and Karis LeVert. And I think the big sort of storyline and the big one that can change the series is the big men, the Robinson, Hartenstein versus Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. These guys can change games, because big stars are going to put their points in no matter what happens, but it's the sort of role players, they're the players in the starting five that can really make a difference. So going forward, I guess for the Cavs, those two big men, they're going to be very, very important. And I guess finally, the third takeaway is the New York Knicks guards just struggled in this game. I said earlier that Brunson struggled with only 29% from the field, but Josh Hart wasn't much better either. And only went 9 for 32 as a combined all three guards, and 1 for 13 from three-point land. So a lot of room for improvement. As I said, you sort of expected the Cavs to win this game. If they hadn't, you'd be thinking a sweep was on the cards, because New York at Madison Square Garden is a dangerous place to go to. So the Cavs sort of had to win it. Their defense showed that. It was a desperation, aggressive type defense that matched the Knicks. And it sort of showed there with they struggle for the point guards there, the guards there. They've all been really, really efficient this year, and I guess seeing these numbers here just shows the quality of defense that's being played for the Cavs, and I guess something they need to take care of going forward, because if they can be that good and hold likes of Brunson and Barrett, quickly, Grimes of the world to these sort of low field goal percentages, they can change the game and change the series. So I guess that's the blueprint going forward for the Cavs. A big win for them in game two. After that 17-point win, swings the series now back to Madison Square Garden, back to New York, where we've got game two tomorrow on Saturday morning. So it'll be interesting to see how both teams respond. I see the Knicks sort of getting up at home, but the blueprint's there for the Cavs. I know how to win against this team, so it'll be exciting to see what happens. I'll be back for another review for game three, but I'm loving this series so far. It's everything I expected to be, back and forth, excitement and passion from both fan sets. I can't wait to see how this one continues to go. I'll see you guys soon.